Prime Minister Gonsalves said that throughout the region, there are numerous indigenous banks, some of which are experiencing serious challenges. He, however, pointed out that of all the banks in the currency union, the National Commercial Bank is not one in the intensive care.
In fact, we have taken the bank from a very weak position and have strengthened the bank. And I'll provide all the data, hopefully in a ministerial statement shortly. Those of you who would remember, either late in my first term or early in the second term, when Koja Anthony used to work for the Searchlight, there was a front page newspaper article, National Commercial Bank for sale. I think you'd remember that. When Koja worked for the Searchlight, had a photograph of the National Commercial Bank. He heard speculation. Well, the fact is this, is that we had signed a memorandum of understanding with First Citizens Bank of Trinidad, which is a state-owned bank in Trinidad. The then chairman of First Citizens, the well-known industrialist and businessman Ken Gordon, who subsequently became the president of the West Indies Cricket Board. We signed a memorandum of understanding. There was a discussion, and after about a year or so of discussions going on, Ken Gordon left the post, and the new manager who came, the new chairman who came on to First Citizens decided that they would rather consolidate rather than expand. Ken Gordon had a view to expand. While we were talking to First Citizens of Trinidad, the Bank of St. Lucia showed an interest, which is an indigenous bank. The Bank of St. Lucia is owned partly by the government, 20-something% of the shares. The Bank of St. Lucia is owned 20% by a Republic Bank out of Trinidad. The National Insurance Services of St. Vincent and Grenadines has 5-6% in that bank. The National Commercial Bank of St. Vincent and Grenadines has 4% in that bank. Yes. They came, but because we had a memorandum of understanding with First Citizens, we were bound by the confidentiality agreement which we had not to speak to any other entity. So when they came, we said informally, we can't, we know what it is. Then when First Citizens went, the trail ran cold. Then as the global meltdown from September 2008 started and continues up to today, we foresaw that we would have liquidity challenges at the indigenous banks throughout the region. Remember, I speak just now of capital, and we're talking about liquidity. They're not the same things. So informally, the chairman, the new general manager, Mr. Aiton, asked me whether we still had the policy in relation to divestment. I said, sure. We want to see a divestment taking place essentially in 2 stages. Not to weaken the bank, but to strengthen the bank. To strengthen the capital base with another bank, not a foreign bank, but a bank from our region. Incidentally, foreign banks are interested, you know. But I've told them every time, no. One foreign bank, for instance, which has been operating in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, had come to me to express an interest. Because I wanted to strengthen our regional banking network. And the policy of the government from 2001 is to see if we can get a suitable, another bank to help us to expand, regional bank, to expand the capital base of the National Commercial Bank. But beyond that first phase, to also make shares available to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines so that they can own shares in the bank and make money from it. Now, you will notice that there are certain activities in which I want the state to have an enhanced role, but there are other activities in which I have no objection at all, and that strategically it is important for the state to retreat. This is why I say all the time that the government has a very sophisticated view as to the role of the state in the economy, not the simplistic thing which you get from some people who are interested in religious liberty and some people who are in the opposition. You know, but they want to sell things in a very simplistic manner. This is why Kenneth John can end his article and saying it would be a strange reversal of communism if we were to sell the bank. I mean, who was ever talking? You see, these fellas have the fighting ghosts from the past. You know, Don Quixote, the tilting at windmills. Let's be real. So, Mr. Highton, the new CEO, said to me, I said, yes, go ahead, make informal contacts with Republic. Republic bought the Bank of, Republic of Trinidad bought the Bank of Barbados, the Barbados National Bank. Owen Hatter presided over the sale of that bank. I think the government only has small among the shares there. Republic owns a bank in Grenada. Republic has 20% in the Bank of St. Lucia. In fact, the Bank of St. Lucia is owned by Eastern Caribbean Financial Holdings Limited. If you go on the Eastern Caribbean Stock Exchange, you will see that they are listed. Where the shares can be traded.
Dr. Gonsalves said the application to the Caribbean Development Bank to secure the loan was done strategically and reflects the dynamic leadership of his administration.
In preparation of all this, that we made an application to the Caribbean Development Bank in respect of the $100 million to, in a sense, swap the debt, so to speak. We borrow $100 million from them, but it doesn't increase the public sector debt because it is a replacement of a debt which is at the National Commercial Bank. Now, if the strategy is too sophisticated for the opposition, too far-seeing for some commentators who don't understand basic things, well, I'm sorry.
According to Dr. Gonsalves, the US $37 million loan to the National Commercial Bank will assist the government in its financial sector reform agenda to enhance the regulated and supervision of the country's financial sector. Reporting for the API, I am Shanna Daniel.